already behind time. Now, the Shunammite woman, Elisha, the prophet, which is the predecessor of Elijah, and we know that Elisha got a double portion of what God had already blessed Elijah with. And we know that Elijah was anointed. Like we know that the presence of God was on his life. He was the one that says there will be no rain in 3 years, and the rain literally did not fall in 3 years. And then he said, Lord, send the rain now, and the rain came. So we know that this is a man of power. Now, Elisha was going with him, and he said to Elisha, what would you want? And Elisha said, I want a double portion of what you have. So think of to have a double portion of that. Now, Elisha, as he traveled through the land of Israel, especially Samaria and all of that, he passed through Shunem. And the Bible said in 2 Kings 4, verse 2, 2 Kings 4, verse 8, it started at verse 8, it says that Elisha went through Shunem, and there was a great woman, and I perceived that greatness to be wealthy, that as Elisha was passing through, she usually constrained him. She bid him to come in, and she would make meals for him, because the Bible said that she perceived that he was a man of God. And then one day she spoke to her husband, and she said, why don't we just put a room on the house, like just make some preparations for the man of God, that when he pass our way, we can accommodate him and he can be comfortable. And his husband was with him, because I believe that his husband trusted him. She trusted his desire. He trusted what she was saying, and it shows me that this was a good woman. This was a wise woman. This was a woman that behaved herself wisely with her people and in her home, because it's not many times that a woman can say to her husband, build a room for another man that is passing by, that whenever he's passing he can stay in, and the husband will agree to that. But this man agreed to his wife because he trusted her, because there was something inside of her. It's the way that she brought herself, it's the way who she was. He knew who his wife was, so he trusted that whatever she wanted, it was from a pure heart, it was pure intention. And this woman, there was a discernment inside of her that she knew that this man is an anointed man of God. I am sure that she heard stories, but also there had to be a part of her that convicted her and showed her who he was. So one day, as her kindness for Elisha grew, and it grew, and Elisha looked at her and he said to her, what can I petition God for you for? Or even, can I speak to the king about you? What is it that you would want? Because I have connections. People like me. People know me. And if I speak your name, if I say something, then people will listen. So if it's more status that you want, if it's friendship, whatever it is that you want, let me speak for you. And she said, man of God, she said, I have everything that I have, that I need. I am contented that God has blessed me with a spirit of peace, with a spirit of contentment. Because brethren, can I tell you that there are some people that it doesn't matter how much they have, they will never find peace and contentment. They always want more. But this woman, because of the heart, because of the spirit that was inside of her, she said, no, man of God, I am contented. I have a life that I am contented with. And helping you does not mean that I'm looking for something from you. How many of us that when we help somebody, the first thing that we're thinking is that, what can you return for the favor that I have given you? And if somebody turn out to not return the favor and not to be kind to us, then we're all of a sudden we're upset, and we're so sorry that we helped this person. But this woman, she was not this kind of woman. She gave from a genuine heart. And when we look up in verse 16, it says that the man of God, Elisha, looked around and he said to her, I see something that could change your life, that could bless your life. She said, do not deceive me, man of God. I am good. I promise you, I am good. I am helping you because it is my heart's desire to help you. I don't need any favors from you. But Elisha said to her, about next year, this time in this season, that God will visit you and you will conceive and bear a son. She said, man of God, do not deceive me, because I can imagine that she is tried many times and this did not happen for her. So she had settled with, this is not God's will for my life and I am contented. And if we remember back then that when a woman could not bear a child, that was more of a curse on her. She was looked down on. But this woman had found contentment in her situation. Unlike Anna, who could not find any peace, this woman was contented. She was not going to God asking for a child. She loved the life that she lived. But the Bible said that as the man of God spoke it over her life, so it was that the next year she bare and she got pregnant and she brought forth a son, just as the man of God said. That we said that God honored whatever Elisha said because he had gotten a double portion of that which his master Elijah have. And it says that one day this child was out, and as he was out, he started having a headache, and he cried and he cried and he says, "Mama, my head." And he cried to his father and he said, his head. Now, as mothers, we're looking at women and we're celebrating Mother's Day. We know that the worst thing that could happen to our children is when they're sick. That would rather be sick for our children than have them sick for us. But I tell you that there's some ways that God is going to test us. And he's not going to test us in the way that we want him to test us, because we can lay up in the bed and we can pray to God for our healing. But our hearts break when it's our children that we see that they're suffering. So it says that in verse, as we read down from verse 16, it says that the child cried for the headache. And in verse 20 it says, and when he had taken him, that's the father, and brought him to his mother, the child sat on her knees until noon, and there he died. Now I want to close my Bible right here, because here was a lady that was contented with her life. She was happy and she said, I don't need anything. But the man of God came and spoke a child into her life, and it happened, and it seemed to have brought her more joy, because I don't know if you have a child, but I can tell you, a child only brings you more joy. No matter how bad your child is, no matter what they're going on with, there is a love that is inside of you for that child, that you would lay down your life for that child if you needed to. And now this woman that should be expecting for her child to bury her someday of a good old age, to see her grandchildren and to pass down her wealth and her riches to her child. And I can imagine life made sense to her when she got a child, that her heart grew a little bigger and she was so much happier, and her husband was happy and she felt complete now. Now she lost her child, and the Bible said that she didn't say nothing to her husband or to anybody. She got one of the servants and she said, saddle an ass, get the donkey. Because when I read this story, my title for it was A Woman on a Mission, because there was no talking right now. So she got on the donkey and she said to the servant, ride, we're going to see the man of God. We are going back to the source where this child came from, because somebody spoke it in my life and God honored it. And if God saw it fit to honor it, then she said, I don't know what I did, why this pain would come in my life that I did not ask for. I'm going to put the Bible down now, because I'm telling you, when I read this, it showed me that I need to be a woman on a mission for my family, on a mission for my children, on a mission for my husband, on a mission for the things that God gave me for, the things that I asked God for, and even the things that God saw fit to bless me with. Brethren, can I tell you that sometimes we just lay down carelessly and let the enemy just take what he wants from us, and we do not put up a fight. But this woman said, I am not going down like this. This fight is not going to end like this. So she said to the servant, she said, do not ride as though a prestigious woman is on this donkey or on this chariot, whatever she had. She said, do not ride as though you're carrying a delegate. Do not worry about my position, if I'm wealthy, what I need, or what will accommodate my comfort. She said, it's not time for this. She said, I want you to ride. I want you to break every speed limit there is on the road, because I need to see the man of God. I need to inquire. I need him to find out from God, why would he bring this pain in my life? There's so many times, brethren, women, I'm speaking to you, women especially. Men, I know that you're here, and I thank God that you're here. but I'm going to gear in on women, because it says that the father brought the child in and lay him on the mother's lap, because that's where the comfort is going to come. And let me tell you something, there is nothing as angry as when a mother sees her child going down and go before God in prayer and in fasting and in weeping. I don't know if any of you had to drop on your knees and you can't even speak. Your eyes are welling up and you're crying and your soul is filled because your children are in trouble. This is what was happening to this woman. So she went and she got there. The Bible said that the writing was so fast that he said that the prophet looked over and he perceived that this was the Shunammite woman. I don't know what about the riding, the chariot, the horses or what, but he looked afar off and he perceived that it was her. But the way she was riding said something, that he sent Gehazi, his armor bearer, and he said, go figure out what's going on with this woman. Is it well with her? Because something is not well. This does not look like a casual visit. Now, brethren, my question for you is, when you show up in the spirit, are you showing up casually? Or when the enemy see you coming, does he know that you're on a mission? Does he know that he has troubled your territory? Does he know that it's wartime when he sees you? Or is he unafraid of you? Is he unbothered by your presence in the spiritual world? Because so many times we look at things in the physical, but brethren, I have to tell you that we have to move above the physical and go in the spiritual to go and undo something, to go war with the enemy. We're warring with our husbands, we're warring with our children, we're warring with our bosses, we're warring with the people around us, but the real war is in the heavenlies. So this lady said, I'm not gonna sit here and curse the man of God out and say all kind of ridiculous things and bury my son and wallow in tears. I am not about that. I am going back to the source. So the Bible said that Elisha sent Gehazi to meet her, and he said, is it well with you? She said, yes, it's well. Is it well with your husband? Yes, it's well. Is it well with the child? Yes, it's well. Because sometimes we talk too much and we tell too much to the wrong person. She was not about to waste her time talking to somebody that could not help her. Gehazi did not promise her a child. Gehazi did not speak this into her life. The man of God did, and she's going straight back to the source. Can I tell you that sometimes when we take up the phone to speak, we should have been on our knees and going back and saying, God, you gave this to me. You blessed me with this, and now it's not working. It's not working right, and I am coming back to you, because I believe that if you can't fix it, then nobody else can fix it. And God, you would not give this pain to me for absolutely no reason. So if you're causing this to come against me, if you said that my child is a promise, it's an inheritance, mighty God, and I'm raising this child to come and to warfare in the kingdom. I'm raising this child to come and be a leader of the kingdom, God. And if you see it fit to allow certain temptations, to allow certain attack upon my child life, I will not call the doctor at this moment, because I need to speak to you before the doctor. I will not call my mother. I will not call my husband. I will not call my friend in this matter, because this is not a medical situation. This is not an advice situation. This is a spiritual situation, and I have to go back to the Father for this situation. I have to go back to the Maker for this situation. I don't know who I'm speaking to today, but I don't know if whatever is going on in your life with your children, if it has bothered you to the path where you don't want to talk to nobody no more. Well, will you get to that path? If you're not there, will you get to the part where I don't want my sister's opinion. I don't want my best friend's opinion. For God's sake, I don't even want to hear it from my pastor. I need to hear what God has to say in this matter. Is there anybody who's sick and tired of being tired of the enemy playing games with their family, with their children? So the Bible said that she went and she got to the man of God and she fell at his feet. She grabbed onto his feet and she said to him, did I not tell you not to deceive me. She's a woman on a mission. She's not playing games. She's not playing around. She's not playing with her heart. She's not playing with her children. She's not playing with what God has blessed her with. She has no time for the playing. And eventually he perceived what was going on. But the Bible said, Elisha said, I do not know why God has hid this from me. God did not show Elisha what was going on. Elisha could have known why she was coming, what was going on. But God was testing this woman. It was time for this woman's faith to arise. It was time for her to get to the next level. And the only way that God could test to see what was inside of her is to inflict this pain upon her and see, would she sit with it or would she run and do what she's supposed to do? The Bible said that Elisha said to Gehazi, he said, take my staff and go put it on the child. And she said, as the Lord liveth, I will not leave you. Do we remember when Jacob said to God, he said, I will not let go until you bless me. So many times we get so caught up in the pastor is praying for us. So I don't really need to pray because pastor is anointed, pastor is appointed. And when pastor pray, things happen. First elder is praying for us. The praise team is praying for us. The prayer ministry is praying for us. So guess what we do? We go sit back, have a bowl of ice cream and scroll the internet because guess what? Our situation has been brought before God. But let me tell you something. God wants to hear from you. He wants you to come boldly. He wants you to bring the situation before him. And I am so thankful that this woman did not become comfortable with Gehazi going to put the staff upon her son. I am so happy that she did not jump on the ass and say, okay, let me go back because I've got the man of God's attention. She said, no. This is not good enough. I will not go with this. I will not accept this unless you come. You have to come back. You have to fix this situation. Brethren, God wants us to be bold. God is not offended if we come before his presence and you say, God, I will not let go. I will not stop praying until you change the situation. You said, I will not sleep tonight until I get a word from you, God. God wants us to come boldly before him like this. This is what this Shunammite woman did. She said, Gehazi's presence is not what I came for. So oftentimes we're like, Lord, send an angel. But I'm saying today that God, I need you in this house. I need you in my life. I need you in my family, because if you don't come, we will perish. I don't know who I'm talking to out there. So it says that Gehazi went ahead of them, he ran ahead of them, and he followed all the instruction that the prophet had given Gehazi to follow. But guess what happened? It did not yield the result. Her son did not come back. And that's why I said I am so grateful that she did not think that that was enough. I'm so grateful that she did not abort the mission that she had gone to because Gehazi was going, because she was not there to see Gehazi. She was there to see the carrier of the presence of God. And that was the man of God that was carrying the presence of God. And she knew that she would not go back home unless the presence of God was going back with her. Now, I don't know who is the carrier of the presence of God in your home. I don't know where it is that you go, what situation drive you in the presence of God. But let me tell you something, that sometimes God allows things to happen to us because he wants us in his presence. Let me tell you, that sleep, that death, that headache, it was not to be to kill you. It was not the final sentence. God wanted us in his presence, and he knew that hadn't he inflicted something on us, we never would have come in his presence. We would have been too happy. We wouldn't remember to pray, brethren. We would have been bragging how good life is, and we would have forgotten who gave us that good life. So sometimes he steers the nest like an eagle. He steers the nest. He takes out all the comfort because it's time for us to fly. I don't know who I'm talking to out there, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody because I know for sure that I'm talking to myself. And it says that when the man of God went, Gehazi did everything and it did not work. The child was still dead. But when the man of God went, and when he went in the room and he shut the door, it says that the child came back alive. And let me tell you something, when you know in your heart, when your spirit witness, say, this is not my child's portion. God has placed you in his life, mothers, to be a nurturer, to be a teacher. God has placed you to be an intercessor. So when the spirit witness that my daughter should not be a prostitute, my daughter should not be pregnant in her teenage years. I don't care what's going on in the school. I don't care what my neighbor is doing. I don't care what's going on in our church. church, but that is not coming in my house. That spirit is not taking out my son. My son will not be a homosexual. And I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what they're spreading. I don't care if it's LGBTQ or ABC to Z. I don't care what letter you call it. My child is not a part of that. And I am willing to go in the presence of God for minds. When we get to that place where we say we are passionate enough that we will not settle, we will not say, well, I am not the only person that is going through this, because sometimes we like to rationalize the pain in our lives. We like to say other people are going through it, that I'm not special, but God will come through when he sees it fit. And you bury your dream, you bury your child, you start speaking over them, you even start using the demon on their life to label them and to curse them, when it was a door that the demon was knocking and he hadn't fully come in. But because we did not have the discernment as this woman, we were not on a mission, we were not vigilant, we did not know the source, we did not recognize how to go in the presence of God. We don't know where the secret place is. We don't have an altar to go to before God. So guess what? We let our children die, we let our family die, we let our blessings die, we let the gifts that God give to us die. Had that woman set up for Gehazi going back, first, if she did not decide to go to the man of God, the Bible says she didn't even tell her husband where she was going. She's on a mission. This is not time to talk. This is time to act. This is time to do. Now our time is up, brethren. I really wanted to start because I told you that I had something to say. I told you when I read this, it resonated with my heart, because I recognize that I need to be a woman on a mission. I recognize that we talk too much. We stop to say too much. We explain too much. We're looking for sympathy. But let me tell you something. When the enemy is coming in to attack your family, he doesn't care if the entire community is sympathizing with you. That's none of his business. He's not a respecter of the fact that your heart is broken and you are crying. He does not care anything about it. He's there to rob, to kill, to destroy. And when he comes in, he wants to do his job effectively. He wants to take all that he can and some more when he comes in. So I'm telling you, if it's your husband that he came for, then he's also looking for your children. And if he can get you too, he'll take you with them. If he came for your finances and he sees your health hanging around, seem like you're not paying attention to it, he will also take that with him. Let us be vigilant. Let us remember the presence of God. Let us sit in the presence of God. Don't wait until trouble. Don't wait until hard time. For us, the Bible said that she perceived that he was a man of God. She perceived, she knew in her heart, she knew that it was a man of God. So she knew where the presence of God is and she knew where to go back to. Oftentimes, God give us things, brethren. Things come to us that we didn't even ask for, but it was welcome present, because God knows good gifts to give to us, and he'll give us more than we ask for, because we don't even know what to ask for. But he knows his plans for our lives. And when God gives us something, the enemy wants to come and take it. But sometimes we sit back and, well, it's just the will of God. Let God's will be done. Whatever he says. No, brethren. God wants us to get up and to fight. He wants us to fight. As mothers, he wants us to fight. As I said before, a lot of us were still testifying about our mothers and our grandmothers who prayed for us. We're still testifying about 3 o'clock in the morning when we woke up, and they woke us up because they were praying out loud. They were crying out to God for us, for our parents, for their sons. And we remember, and when we get in trouble and we see God pull us out, and we know that we were not even seeking God, but we go back and we said that God is honoring our grandfather, our grandmother's, or mother's prayer, or great-grandmother's prayer. We're looking back and seeing that these prayers were sent up. But what will our children have to say? Will our children say that I remember when my mother was praying about this? When they come back with their testimony, because the Bible says, train a child in the way that he should go, that when he is old, he will not turn away from it. But let me tell you something. If your child ever turn, if your child ever take another experience, God is faithful enough to bring that child back. And when that child comes back, does he have a testimony to say, brethren, when I was out there, when I was in sin and when I was in shame, when I felt hopeless, I remembered that my mother prayed before God. I remember remember the prayers of my mother. I remember the nights when my mother was in tears crying over me. Can they go back? Can the Holy Spirit bring that back to them so that it can soak in their heart, it can touch their heart, and it can draw them back to God? Will that make them slow down to remember that they has a mother that is praying for them? Can they remember that right now at this moment I am feeling weird? Could it be that mommy is home praying 3 o'clock in the morning? She can't sleep because she knows that I'm on drugs, because she knows that I'm in an abusive situation, because she knows that my mental health is failing, because she knows I'm in a toxic relationship. I bet you mommy is not sleeping tonight. Can they know that? Can they know that? Or when they're around us, what do they see? Do they see us on Facebook, Instagram? Do they see us gossiping with other people? Or do they know that we're praying for them? Are we encouraging them? Are we speaking the word of God over their life? Are we hoping for Pathfinders, AY, and the church to do it for us? Brethren, God gave those children to us. Sisters, women, God gave those children to us to nurture them. It is our job to nurture them. God trusted us with those children, and we're going to give an account to God if we do not do what we're supposed to do. Now, I'm not here telling you that being a parent, being a mom is easy. There's nothing easy about it. I say every day it's one of the hardest jobs that I have had to do. And the thing about it is that there's no manual, and I don't care if you have 7 or 12 children, 1 or 2. They're all different. Their needs are all different, and sometimes you can get through, you have 8 and you get through to 7, but there's this one that my friend would say, which one of them bring out the gangster in you? There's just this one that brings out the gangster in you. There's just this one that brings out the sternness in you. That's the gangster. There's this one that makes you bold in the presence of God. That's the gangster in you. When she asked me, who brings out the gangster in you? There is always one in the batch that keeps you in the presence of God. No, we cannot leave that one behind, because the Bible said that when 99 of the sheep was saved, that the good shepherd went for that one that was lost. And God is expecting us to do the same. He's expecting us to take everything that He's given us to carry it. I love it when Joshua said, when Joshua was giving the commandments and the land has split up and all of that stuff. And Joshua said, as for me and my house, me and my house, everything in my house, everyone in my house, we will serve the Lord. How could Joshua give an account for everybody else that was in his house? How could he say that they were going to do what he says? Because guess what? He modeled it. He lived the life. They saw him praying. They heard them pray. Heard him praying. He was faithful to God, and he trusted that God would honor whatever he asked. And his prayer was that his house would stay under the covenant. His prayer was that his children, his descendants, would walk in the calling that God had called them to. Brethren, I am so out of time, and I am sorry that I went over, but I told you guys before that I had something that I needed to share.